one of Sega's biggest mysteries has to be the mode button. Hang out in any retro game shop and ask people who own a Genesis or have interest in the system if they know what the button is for. You will be hard pressed to find anyone beyond the most dedicated fan that can give you an answer. Unless you're a huge 32X fanatic, there's one other thing about this button nearly no one knows. It's actually used in a handful of games. This is Retro Impressions, and this is part 3 of our series covering Sega's mode button. This series wouldn't be complete without looking over every game I know of that makes use of the mode button in-game. So let's get started. Afterburner Complete shows the mode button in the option menu under Key Assign. It's assigned to the Vulcan gun along with the B or C button depending on the setup you choose. AEROBIZ Supersonit seems to come up time and again as a game that uses the mode button to display a map. I have extensive time with this game and can confirm this is a false report. In Batman Forever, holding the mode button allows you to walk backward. You can use this while fighting to move away from an enemy without giving them your back. I can't help but think of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker when I play this game. Is one inspired by the other? Maybe. Just maybe. Battle Corps for the Sega CD uses it in combination with XYZ as a hotkey to quick select weapons. This gives the player 6 unique hotkeys mapped to different weapons for easy access. Beyond Oasis, also known as The Story of Thor, uses the mode button plus B to change between your standard sword and the last special weapon you selected on the fly. It's extremely helpful and not mentioned in the manual. With Doom on the 32X, the mode button is required to use all the classic cheat codes. It also allows players to quick select weapons by holding down mode and pressing the button assigned to that weapon. This gives you 6 hotkeys to pull up the weapon you want on the fly, much like Battle Corps. Dragon Ball Z Buyu Retsuden makes use of the mode button as a type of turbo or speed movement ability. When you hold mode, you can move from one side of the stage to the other very quick, while without holding it, you putt along at a very slow pace. Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, uses the mode button plus X, Y, or Z to switch between different fighting stances that can potentially be unlocked during a fight. This is integral to the game and is listed in the manual. Eternal Champions on the Sega CD requires the mode button to input the vast majority of codes available for the game, and there's a ton. It's also used to unlock the huge amount of hidden fighters. Golf Magazine 36 Grey Holes starring Dread Couples has an object view mode that's only accessible by entering the option menu and pressing the mode button. Nightmare Circus is a game only released in Brazil. It uses the mode button to access a stage select screen and the debug menu. The manual also talks about a special ability being linked to the mode button, but after 30 minutes of playing, I still couldn't figure this game out enough to see what the special ability was. Fatal Fury 2 uses the mode button for taunting, and is the only fighting game to do so. International Superstar Soccer Deluxe allows players to select strategies on the fly. Holding the mode button while pressing A, B, C, or Z lets the player switch strategies that they have pre-assigned to these button combinations. Metalhead for the 32X uses the mode button to allow the player to change views. In Phantom 2040, holding down the mode button allows you to stand in place while you aim your weapon. It's a very handy feature that's executed about as well as can be done without a second D-pad or control stick. I want to mention how surprised I was that this appears to be a very good game, even with a terrible license like the Phantom attached to it. I really enjoyed the time I spent with it while making this episode, and I'm looking forward to giving it a proper playthrough in the future. Shadow Squadron, also known as Stellar Assault, and Star Wars Arcade both use the mode button to toggle between the cockpit and outside view. Shadow Squadron leaves mode as a dedicated button for this, while Star Wars Arcade doubles up using the X button as well. In TECHNOCLASH, the mode button is used as a dedicated healing button. This game is designed around utilizing the full capability of the 6-button gamepad and really shouldn't be played without it. The Lost Vikings uses mode as a dedicated button for accessing inventory. Its use is even covered in the manual. Williams, Arcade's Greatest Hits, is another game that does something fairly odd. It recognizes a 6-button controller, but defaults to the 3-button setup. When you start a game of Robotron 2084, you will be put into a very hard to manage 3-button setup. Pressing the mode button changes the setup to 6-button mode. It's the only instance of a game that uses the mode button to change the controller setup during gameplay. And finally, WWF Royal Rumble uses the mode button to change your teammate while in the triple tag team match. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a positive or negative comment letting me know your thoughts. Click subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Until next time, I'm Genovi, and this has been Retro Impressions and Reviews.